Reading factorial. So factorial, what do you mean by factorial? First of all, it is defined for defined only for whole numbers. Factorial is defined only for whole numbers. What do you mean by whole numbers? Whole numbers are the set of integers starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, so on.
0 to infinity.
So factorial is something that will be defined only for whole numbers. And how is it defined? It is defined such that R factorial, this is the first symbol, or this is also written as R factorial, something which looks like angle symbol. So both of these notations are generally used.
This is sign of factorial.
These two are the common signs of factorial, but in our course we'll be using this sign. Some places you will also see this sign. But
so that is used for higher classes only, sir. This sign.
Yeah, not higher classes. Actually, this is used in computers, but no problem. Higher class also we use, but right now we'll stick to this sign. So these are the two symbols which we use for factorial. And now how do you define R factorial? R factorial is defined as R into the
R minus 1.
number just smaller than R minus 1 into R minus 2, so on. Till when do you multiply? Till the time you come to 2 and 1.
1.
Okay. Let us start with simple examples. Let us say 3 factorial. What is 3 factorial? 3 factorial will be 3
into 2 into 1.
3 into 3 minus 1 into 3 minus 2. But 3 minus 2 is 1. Right. So we have to stop it. So this is nothing but 3 into 2 into 1. This will be equal to 6. Therefore, 3 factorial will be equal to 6. The value of 3 factorial will be 6. Okay. No doubt so far?
No, sir.
Yeah. Some properties. Let us just look into some properties. First and foremost important property is the factorial of any number can be written as R times into R minus 1 factorial. R factorial can always be written as R into R minus 1 factorial. Okay. Very simple to verify. You can mathematically verify with example also. R into R minus 1 factorial. What is R minus 1 factorial? R minus 1 factorial is R minus 1 into R minus 2 into same difference. So until 2 and 1.
Yes, sir.
So if you just combine all of this again, you'll get the same thing as R factorial. So R factorial can be written as R into R. Okay. Very simple first property. And needless to say, this can also be written as R factorial can also be written as R into R minus 1 into R minus 2 factorial.
R minus 2 factorial.
So on and so forth. Okay. Third point. This is important. 0 factorial is equal to. Okay. This is defined. Definition of 0 factorial. 0 factorial is defined as 1. So till the time I teach you anything further, you can remember this as an axiom, either as a definition or as an axiom, whatever you want. Basically, I want
Can
to
you
question.
prove third property?
Yeah, that's what I
Yes, sir.
told. Because I don't want to prove it, I'm telling you to remember as an axiom. What do you mean by axiom? Who knows what is axiom?
So the definitions means statements which are believed to be true but they don't have any proof.
It's not that they're believed to be true.
They are true.
They are.
They can be proved.
True only.
Yes, sir, they are true.
See, axiom is like a starting point. They are self-evident truths. For example, a point. A point is axiom. Why do we say point is axiom? Because you have to start somewhere. If you don't start with a point, then you cannot define a line. A line. How do you define a line? A line is a set of points. So you have to start somewhere. When you define a point, then you can define a line, then you can define a plane. But to start with, you should define a point. Therefore, in books, you'll never see any definition of point. So the definition of point is accepted something like an axiom. And once you start with the point, you can define other things. Similarly, in permutation combination also, we accept that 0 factorial will take the value 1. And we can explain further things. Okay. Now I can explain 0 factorial to be 1 also using different methods. But let us understand it in this way. Understand it as an axiom. Okay. So this is not being multiplied with 0 or anything. 0 factorial will be taken by definition or as an axiom. So last time also I showed a small proof, but I prefer that you understand it this way. Take it as a definition axiom. Take it as something to remember. Okay. After we go a little further, I'll show one more way of proving it. But for now, just remember this. Remember. I'll come back to this again in a while. So R factorial, more properties of R factorial. The product of any R consecutive product of any R consecutive integers will always be divisible. Will always be divisible by R factorial. The product of any R consecutive integers will always be divisible by R factorial. Okay, let us start with a simple example and then we'll go to the proof. Tell me a number. Give me a small number. Small number.
Sir, 3.
3. Okay.
5.
हो गया एक ही number. Okay. So 3. 3 factorial. What is the value of 3 factorial?
Sir, 6.
6.
6.
Now, what is this? This theorem is telling you give me any 3 consecutive numbers. Any 3. Tell me any 3 consecutive numbers.
Sir, 22, 23, and 24.
Okay, 22 into 20. We are talking about the product of these 3 consecutive numbers. Okay. So 22 into 23 into 24. So this statement is telling that this product will always be divisible by 6. Isn't it true?
Yes, sir.
Khatam. Okay. Fascinating, right? I'm giving one more opportunity to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Tell me any more three numbers.
Sir, 7, 8, 9.
7 into 8 into 9. This will also be divisible by 6.
Yes, sir.
So 4 and 2 cancelled out, and 3 and 3
3.
cancelled.
Yeah.
So also divisible. Anyone else wants to try? You can tell me any 3 consecutive numbers. Any 3.
Sir, in any 3 consecutive
98,
number, there
99,
is always a divisible of, there is always a multiple of 3. So,
And there is always a multiple of 2 also.
2 also.
So therefore it will be divisible both by 3 and 2. Therefore it will be divisible by 3.
6.
Okay, good. So some of you have understood the logic. You see here you'll find a multiple of 3 and you'll find a multiple of 2. Therefore 6 will always be cancelled. It's a very small and simple logic. Should I explain the logic? How many of you understood the logic? Raise your hand if you understood the logic. How many of you are able to understand why it is happening like this?
Sir, in any three numbers, there will be definitely a positive, any three consecutive numbers, there will definitely be an even number. So it will cancel out 2 from 6 and there will be a multiple of 3. So,
Yeah. So quite a few of you understood. Very good. Okay. For those of you who are not, okay, you can put your hands down. For those of you who are not able to catch up, see, I'm going to explain once. See, if you take any three consecutive numbers, 11, 12, 13, then out of three consecutive numbers, definitely one of them will be even. If this is even, then this will be odd, this will be even, right? Or if this is odd, this will be even and this will be odd. So that means if you multiply all these three, then definitely it will be a multiple of 2, because as long as even number is there, it will be a multiple of 2. I hope everyone understands this. Does anyone have a doubt here? Any three consecutive numbers will always be a multiple of 2. Okay? Because any three consecutive numbers, definitely one of them will be even. Similarly, now this might be a little more difficult, but you have to understand in any three consecutive numbers, one of them will be a multiple of 3 also. One of them will be a multiple of 3. Why? Let us take the first number. Here, example 11. So 11, if you divide by 3, what is the remainder? What is the remainder when divided by 3?
sir,
11
2.
divided by 3. Remainder.
Yes, sir, 2. Remainder.
2. Yeah. So if the remainder is 2, see, if you remember from the first topic, can I say 11 is a form of 3k plus 2?
But yes, sir.
What is this called? Which theorem is this?
Sir, remainder.
Remainder. Yeah, good. Is it called remainder? It's not called remainder theorem. It has some other.
So factor thing.
No. You guys are mixing things. It is not factor theorem. That those are in polynomials. Factor theorem, remainder. What is this theorem?
So, sir,
No one remembers. It is some lemma. Euclid's lemma. Did I teach this or I didn't teach this?
No, sir, you
no,
didn't.
sir, you didn't teach.
No, sir.
Oh. There's not much to see. It is basically any dividend. Dividend can be written as divisor into
So divisor into quotient plus
quotient
remainder.
plus remainder. So all of you know this, na?
Yes, sir. So this is called Euclid's lemma.
Yeah, this is only called Euclid's. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So all of you know this, na? Dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder.
Yes.
So every number can be written in this form. For example, 11. When 11 is divided by 3, then the remainder will be 2. Okay. And over here also you'll have some natural number. In this case, what will the number be? I think it will be 3.
So 3.
It will be some number, some natural. There's no problem. Like that, each and every number, it can be written as some 3k plus some remainder. Okay. Now, can you guys tell me what are the options for reminders? When you divide by 3, what are the reminders, possible reminders?
So 1 and 2.
No.
So 0, 1 and 2.
0, 1, 2. Very good. Okay. So whenever you divide any number with 3, we can say that the remainder will be either 0 or 1 or 2.
Yes, sir. It will be always be less than that particular number.
Okay. So that means, important point, any number, any natural number or any integer can always can always be expressed as or expressed in the form of either 3k or 3k plus 1 or 3k plus 2. Does anyone have any doubt in this statement? If you have a doubt, let me know. Any doubts?
Sir, you wrote that any integer can always be expressed in these three forms.
Yes.
Sir, so any integer can also be every integer can also be expressed in 2k and 2k plus 1.
Yes, very good. And not just 2k. You can also say it can be expressed as
Yes, sir, for every number.
every number. 4k plus 1, 4k plus 2,
4k plus
4k
3.
plus 2.
It will go until 4k plus 3.
Yeah. And for 5, it will be 5k plus 1, 5k plus 2, 5k 3, 5k 4. But see, I want to, does anyone have a doubt? Is anyone having any doubt? I can explain. Did everyone understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, again we are going to that AP part, progressions part.
No, not progression, but
In this part.
this is simple number. This is all number theory. This is very simple number theory. So let someone else. Can anyone give me some number? Anyone other than Pawan? Someone who has not spoken. Give me some number.
So 30.
51.
I did not hear what you guys said.
MC 32.
Okay. Let us stop at 32. So 32, when I divide 32 with 3, okay, what is the remainder?
Sir, 2.
That means 32 can be written as some 3k plus 2 form. This is of the form 3k plus 2, where k will be equal to 10. Okay? Everyone understood, no? Like this, you can use the same procedure for any number. So you give me any number that will be either in the form of 3k or 3k plus 1 or 3k plus 2. Now, why is this important? This is important because now let us come back to this question. I'm telling if you have 3 consecutive integers, okay, 3 consecutive integers, then out of the 3, the first one will either be 3k plus 1 form or 3k plus 2 or 3k form. In this case, this is 3k plus 2 form.
2 form.
Now I have a logical question. Except Pawan, someone else can answer. If this is 3k plus 2 form, then naturally the next consecutive numbers will be of the form. Who can answer?
3k.
3k. And the number which will come after 3k, that will be of the form. 3k plus 1. Okay. Good. So I think everyone understood. Now just think about it this way. If I'm dividing this product, remember it's a product, multiply kar rahe hain, okay? If you're dividing this product, if you're dividing this product with 3, can I say this will always be divisible by 3? What is the reason? Why will it be divisible by 3?
Sir, because there is a 3k.
Very good. Because there is a 3k term. And this will always cancel out. Okay. So hence,
Sir, and when 2 is there, the 3k plus 1 will be cancelled.
yeah. So let's just stick to the 3 example. Okay. Thus, 3 consecutive integers will always be divisible by 3 and 2. Okay, 3 consecutive integers will always be divisible by 3 and 2. Implies, see, 3 and 2 are co-prime with respect to each other. Do you guys understand co-prime? What do you mean by co-prime?
Sir, they don't have any common factor.
Yeah. Can anyone else tell? Good, that is correct. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of this word? Co-prime. Co-prime.
Sir, they're consecutive prime numbers.
No.
No.
Sir, their HCF is 1.
Good.
Sir,
Yeah. Their HCF or GCD should be equal to. See, they don't have to be they don't have to be prime numbers. Pawan, sorry, not Pawan. This Swapnabit. Like 20 and 7. Are they co-prime?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is 20 prime?
yes, sir.
Is 20?
No, sir. No,
It
sir.
is not prime.
20.
It is not prime.
But these two are co-prime.
Co-prime.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So as 3 and 2 are co-prime with respect to each other, I can tell that the 3 consecutive integers will also be divisible by their product, which is 3 into 2. See, whether you multiply 1 or you don't multiply 1, there is no difference. No? I can always say into 1. Which is nothing but 3 factorial. This step, just understand this step. Does anyone have a doubt here, or you want me to elaborate here? Are you guys able to understand this, or should I give an example?
No, sir, no need.
Anyone has any doubt?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, good. So if you understood this particular example, then you'll be able to understand it for any number. This is an example we took for 3. I told you guys to give me a number, you told 3. So if this is true for 3, this will be true for any number. Okay. Now I'm not going into the mathematical proof unnecessarily. It's a waste of time to do the entire mathematical proof. But conceptually, I hope all of you are convinced. Like, let us say take any 5 consecutive numbers. If you take any 5 consecutive numbers, then we can say that they will be their product. We can say that their product. Then their product will be divisible by. Their product will be divisible by
The 120.
5 factorial. Very good, which is 120. If you want, you can experiment. For example, 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7. 1, 2, 3. This will be divisible by 120. This is 20
Yes,
and 6 cancel.
6. Yes, sir.
Okay.
20.
So it will definitely be true. Why will it be true? Because if you have 5 consecutive numbers, let us say those 5 consecutive numbers are A into B into C into D into E. So we already learned that 3 consecutive numbers will always be divisible by 3 and 2. So these 3 consecutive numbers will be divisible by 3 factorial. Okay. Now same logic if you apply, if this is already divisible by 3 factorial, now see if this is of the form, let us say this is of the form 4k plus anything, or let us say 1, then this will be of the form 4k plus,
4k plus 2.
this will be 4k plus 3, then
3.
this will be 4k form.
4k plus, yes, sir. Okay.
So this entire thing will be divisible by 4, 4 cut. Okay.
Sir, and there will be definitely a
Yeah,
multiple of 5.
yeah, so 4 consecutive numbers when multiplied will always be divisible by 4. Similarly, same logic is just going on. 5 consecutive numbers when multiplied will be they'll be divisible by 5 factor. Why? If let us say one of them is of the form 5k plus 3, let us say. Next one will be of the form 5k plus
Plus 2.
4. And the next one will be 5k form. So it will be divisible by 5. It will also be divisible by 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Sure.
Is anyone having any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Right. Good. So this is about 3 into 2 into 3. Right. Some questions. Find the value of third one you don't have to simplify. Okay, so let's get to the answers. So many of you gave many answers. Let's see who's correct. So first question A, 6 factorial by 4 factorial. See, there are two ways of solving this. One thing is you can actually find the entire 6 factorial. 6 factorial is you can do 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. You can actually find the entire value and divide it with the, I'm sorry, I missed out a 4 here. And you can again find the value in the denominator. But a smarter thing to do, since you have to divide both of these values, would be to cancel out the corresponding integers.
Yes, sir.
That
So
way,
6 into 5 into 4 factorial.
yeah, that way you'll be left only with. So first answer is 30. So congratulations to all the students who have got it right. Second one, 8 factorial by 5 factorial into 3. So once again, without doing the entire simplification, I'll write 8 factorial as 8 into 7 into 6 into
6 factorial.
5 factorial divided by 5 factorial into 3.
3 factorial.
So this 5 factorial 5 will cancel out. 6 and 3 factorial is nothing but the same thing.
Yes,
So
sir.
answer will be 8 into 7, which is 56. So for those of you who gave the answer 56, congratulations. C, unfortunately, no one is able to give the right answer. Some of you said 1, some of you said 0, some of you said something I did not understand. So I told you don't have to simplify this. That means you have, see, are you able to see there are 2 factorial signs? This is 10 factorial, whole factorial by 10 factorial. See, what do you, for example, what do you mean by 3 factorial factorial?
Sir, 6 factorial.
Yeah, this will
Like
be
that.
6 factorial, which will actually be 720. Okay. So similarly here, I'm not talking about 10 factorial by 10 factorial. I'm talking about 10 factorial, whole factorial by 10 factorial. So it is a little tricky question. Unfortunately, no one got the
Sir,
answer.
10 factorial is somewhat.
10 factorial is?
Sir, 3, 6, 2, 8, 0, 0.
No, I told don't simplify. That's why I told in the question not to simplify.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, yeah. So, see, we don't know what is 10 factorial and we don't have to know. Okay. So that is a beauty. You don't have to do the calculation every time. Assume that 10 factorial is k. Let us say that the value of 10 factorial is some k. So can I rephrase this question in terms of k? How can I rewrite it?
Sir,
I can-
k factorial divided by 10 factorial.
What is k factorial divided by k? Nothing but k into
K.
k minus 1 factorial divided by k, which cancel out. So the answer will actually be k minus 1 whole factor. But what is
Five
k?
factorial.
No,
So 10. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, sir.
k is 10
10
factorial.
factorial.
So we don't know what 10 factorial is, but whatever it is 10 factorial minus 1 and factorial of that value. So this is the answer. Okay. So this is first bit. Second question also no one was able to give the right answer. Even though it looks very big, it is actually a very simple question. Okay. Did you copy this? Can you go ahead?
Yes, sir.
I hope everyone is done copying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is anyone still copying? Okay. Fine. So the next question, question 2. It is telling find the value of 100 factorial plus 99 factorial. Now, when you look at this, it might look like something very big and sir, why did you give such a question? How in the world will we calculate the value of 100 factorial? But whenever the question is big, generally the solution is quite simple. The second one is 99 factorial plus 98 factorial.
8 factorial.
99 factorial minus 20. So on and so forth. I'm just writing one more term and then I won't write it anymore because I don't have so much patience to write every time. Neither do we have the time. 98 factorial minus 97 factorial dot 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 dot. And the last term will be 2 factorial minus 1 factorial by 2 factorial plus 1. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. 2 factorial plus 1 factorial, and in the denominator we'll have 2 factorial minus 1 factorial. Okay. Okay, so let us look at it one by one. See, whenever the question looks very big and it looks very tough, how do you crack the question? How do you decipher it? You know, the simplest thing is try to break it down. You can see that every term is in a particular format.
Yes.
So let us handle them one at a time. So, for instance, take this term. This is 100 factorial added with 99 factorial and whole divided with their difference. 100 factorial minus 90. Now, can someone tell me, is there something we can take common, cancel out?
Yes, sir. Sir, 100 into 99 factorial. So it will be 99 factorial into 101.
Okay. Anushita wanted to do the same thing?
So same thing.
Yeah. So what
For the numerator, it
what
will
do we
be,
take common? What?
So
What?
100 into 99.
So 99 factorial.
Put 99 factorial. So if you take 99 factorial common, you can write this as 100.
100 plus 1.
And in the denominator also, you can take 99 factorial common. You can write this as
100 minus
100 minus 1.
both of this. So ultimately, the first term will be 101
101.
divided by 90.
99.
Now, can
Sir,
someone?
it will go on.
Yeah. What will the second term be?
Sir, 100 divided by 98.
No. Okay. 100 divided by 90. Yeah, it's true. It will be 100 divided by 90.
Sir, it will go on till 3 divided by 1. So it will be 101 factorial divided by 2. Divided by 99 factorial.
1 second. Okay, yeah, it will be 100 by 90. Correct. What will the third term be?
So 99 by
99 by 97.
97.
Okay, so now without simplifying every term, can I say we're forming a particular pattern? It will be 101 by 99. Next term is 100 by 98.
98.
Next term will be 99 by 97.
97. So we are forming the factorials itself.
98 by, no, it is something simpler. So on and so forth. You see what
3
is
by 1.
happening. Yeah, there is a,
Yes,
every
sir, 3
time
by 1.
last term will be 3 by 1. So if last term is 3 by 1, what will come before 3 by 1? 4
Sir,
by 2.
4 by 2.
Okay, plus 1 plus 1. Now if you observe carefully, you'll see that this 99 will cancel out with this 99. This 98 will cancel out this with this 98. If you write some more terms, you'll understand. Next term will be 97 by 90. So that means this 97 will cancel out with this 97. This 96 will be cancelled out with some 96 which will come later. Like that, you'll see that each and every term in the entire sequence will be cancelled out. So what is the term which comes before 4 by 3? It will be 5 by 3. Out of which the 5 will be cancelled out sometime before, and this 3 will be cancelled out with this. Okay. So ultimately, what are we left with?
It will be 1 to 1
Sir,
0.
sir, if we simplify this, sir, can I tell my way, sir? I take it another.
Okay, wait. I think this 2 will not be cancelled. 2. This 2
Yes,
will
sir.
be.
Yes, sir, it will not be cancelled.
Okay, good. Then I think you gave the right answer. So answer will be 101 into 100 divided by 200. Yeah, good. Answer will be 5050.
Sir, this numerator can be written as simply 101 factorial divided by 2. And this denominator can be written as 99 factorial.
Hmm. Yeah, that is also. Yeah, that's good. That is also one way. There is another solution, Pawan's suggestion. The entire numerator can be written as, after you simplify, you're getting 101 into 100 into 99 into so on till into 3. So what we're doing, we're multiplying and dividing with 2. Okay. And then the denominator you have 99 into 98 into 97, so on till into 2 into 1. So that means the numerator is 101 factorial, denominator is 99 factorial, and there's a 2 over. So after in a little while, we'll call this as 101 C2. I'll just explain in a little while. Or if someone has attended the Sunday class, there we have already discussed this. So this is known as 101 C2. Anyway, this is just a notation. So this is the answer of the second question. Answer is 5050. Okay. Anyone has any doubt?
So can you go back?
Question to the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Done.
Does anyone have any doubt? Any of the questions? Right. So there are some more applications of factorial, but maybe we
So
won't.
can you move to the previous page?
Yeah. So there are some more applications of factorial, but
Yes,
maybe
sir, done.
yeah, this class I won't be getting into the other applications. I'll just show you what is the application of factorial itself in what we learned till now. Okay. Now the big question is how to use this concept of factorial in counting. So the answer answer will be the solution to this question. In how many ways? In how many ways can how many students can in how many ways can 10 students in how many ways can 10 students in how many ways can 10 students be allotted roll numbers? Do you people have roll numbers at school?
Yes, sir.
So in how many ways can 10 students be allotted roll numbers 1 to 10 in a class? Take 2 minutes and think about it. Very simple. Just think about it in terms of your own class. Maybe your name is Raju, Kaju, Baju. Take 10 people. I'm telling, if you have 10 students, someone has to get roll number 1, someone has to be roll number 2, someone has to be roll number 3, so on. Someone will be roll number 10. So in how many ways can that happen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it. Sir, like last day we did that at least one. This can also be done in that way.
Yeah. Oh, good. Some of you have already got answer. Yes.
10 factorial.
Yeah, very good. Srijita, Anushita got the answer. Who wants to explain, Srijita or Anushita?
Sir, can I?
So can I?
Yes, Anushita, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yes, Anushita.
So in the previous class we have done in a game, like we have made 3 stages in which we have arranged. That's why in first I've given the first roll number to 10 students. 10 student can get first roll number. Then
Okay. Let me just make a similar thing. Let us say we have position for each student. Or see, I'll see. Let us say the teacher draws chair. Let us say chair. All of you have chairs in your school. Hopefully, you have chairs, chairs, benches, whatever. So let us say you have 10 chairs. Okay. Let us say chair 1, chair 2, and so on till chair 10. So the teacher is very kind. She actually writes the roll number on each chair. And then now here you have 10 students. I think today in the class also we have approximately 10 students. 11 students. Okay. So I'm able to see Anish. Yeah, Anish Mandal. There is Ashmita. Then there is Ayush. So on and so forth. Many of you are there. So in how many ways can you be seated in these 10 places? So that is a question.
so in the first chair 10 people can sit. After
Yeah.
that in second chair only 9 people can sit.
10
And,
minus 1.
We are placing and, so there will be multiplication.
Yeah.
And
Good.
in
See.
third it will be 8.
Good. So if for the first chair, everyone is eligible to sit here. No one can claim that one. So everyone is equal, has an equal right to sit in this first chair or roll number 1, whatever. So anyone can be roll number 1. I did not say it has to be alphabetical. So anyone can sit here. So that means the first chair has 10 options. Okay. The first, who can sit here? Either Anish can sit here, or Anushita can sit, or Ashmita can sit, or Ayush can sit, or Hadi can sit, or Jyoti can sit, Pawan can sit, or Ronak can sit, or Raju can sit, or Shijita can sit, or Priya can sit. Anyone. So you have 10 options here. But someone has to sit here. Okay. Who wants to sit here? Let us say Hadi Parvez sit here. HP. So he's out. Now he's not counted amongst the 10 people. So except him, let us say you have 10 people, and if you leave him out, how many people are remaining to be seated? 9. So when the teacher goes to the second chair, how many how many choices does she have? Kitna
9.
choices? She has 9 options in front of her, na? Because already Hadi Parvez is sitting on the first chair, so she has 9 more options. All of you, I don't want to repeat the names again. Other 9 students, So out of which, let us say someone else sit here. Let us say Hiya Sarkar sits here. Then when the teacher goes to the next chair, 2 people are done. Out of 10, 2 are done. How many options will they have? She'll have 8 options.
Sir, 8.
Yeah. So if you have 10 people and 10 chairs, by the time she comes to the last chair, if 9 people are already sitting, and there's only 1 chair, then definitely you'll have only 1 person remaining. In this figure, it is Ayush. So that fellow has no choice. He has to go and sit here. The teacher will make him sit here, the 10th chair. Henna, did you guys get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is more like a diagrammatic representation or approach to the question. Now let us come to the mathematical aspect. So coming to the counting part, the first chair has 10 options and the second chair has 9
Yes,
options
10, 9.
and
9
the third
options.
has 8 and
8.
the story goes on till the last chair has only 1 option. Whoever is remaining is forcibly pushed to sit on the last chair. So this 10 into 9 into 8 into 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is nothing but what we studied till now. This is
10 factorial.
10 factorial. So at this juncture, let us state a very important statement. We can say that the number of ways of arranging are people, or instead of people, distinct objects in our places is R factorial. Okay, this is what we learned. Anyone has any doubt?
No, sir.
Sir, it should be our distinct objects and our places. It should be equal. Then only R factorial.
When it is equal, you can use this formula. If it is not equal, then we have another way. Okay. I don't think we'll be discussing today. But isn't this very exciting? Do all of you feel very excited just learning this? Doesn't it feel very awesome? Tomorrow when you go to your class, of course, when you go to your online class, you can ask your friend, hey, see, we have 23 people here, and on the Zoom list, in the participant list, you know that the teacher has something called participants. Not teacher, everyone can see it. There's a box called participants. So there is first participant, second participant. Let us say you have 23 people tomorrow in your class. And let us say the teacher challenges someone to ask a tough question. Then you can ask in your class, in how many ways can 23 students be placed in this list of 23? The answer will be, in how many ways can 23 students come in this list, Zoom participant list, where there are 23 slots? Then you can tell your friends that the answer will be
23 factorial.
23 factorial.
Factorial.
Then they'll tell, what do you mean by factorial? Then you
Then
tell
we have to explain it.
23 factorial, my friend, is nothing but 23 into 22 factorial. Then they'll ask, what do you mean by 22 factorial? What will you say? You'll say that 22 factorial is nothing but 22 into 21 factorial. So by this time, if they're not irritated, then again they'll ask you, what do you mean by 21 factorial? You'll tell the 21 factorial is nothing but 21 into 20 factorial. So
Sir, if the teacher is a mathematics teacher, she will explain, or if it is other.
you guys can become teachers and explain this to everyone. Amar Agna Guru hai tare class hai na. You become teacher in your class and you explain to everyone. So anyway, I'll tell you something very interesting. In computers, if you study computers later on, such a relation is called as a recursive relation. Can someone guess what this word recursive means? How many of you know what cursive handwriting means? Cursive handwriting. Do you know cursive handwriting?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
recursive relation has nothing to do with cursive handwriting. What do you mean by recursive relation? Recursive has more to do with the word recur. What do you mean by recur? Recur.
Repeat.
Yeah.
To
Repeat.
Recur is nothing but
reoccur.
so something that is occurring again and again, that is called recur. So even though this looks like, sir, this is very simple, but in computers, you make programs where you write recursive functions. You give a command to the computer. You tell find the value of some factorial. You tell the function, you can define a function as n factorial equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. So this is called a recursive relationship. Why? Because if someone wants to find what is n minus 1 factorial, again they have to use the same definition. They have to put it in the same definition. So n minus 1 factorial, again you have to use the same definition. N minus 1 factorial is n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial. But what do you mean by n minus 2 factorial? Again you have to use the same definition. So such relationships are called recursive relationships. Okay. So even if you did not understand, no problem. But this is just a side point that such relations are called recursive relationships.
Sir, it's just like a loop without a condition.
It's like a loop where you keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper till you reach some endpoint. Where will it stop?
Yes.
It will stop when you reach 1 factorial or 0
One.
factorial. Because once you reach 0 factorial, you don't have to use the definition, na? Because this is an axiom. We know by axiom that everyone knows the value of 0 factorial, it is 1. So we stop here. When we come to 1 factorial, you know that 1 factorial is 1 into 0 factorial, which means 1 factorial is nothing but 1. So that means 2 factorial is equal to 2 into 1 factorial. 1 factorial is 1. So 2 factorial will be 2. So again, you come back. You start from that point and you come back and you can find the value of any factor. So actually you don't do this, but this is how the computer works. Anyway, that is a different topic. So how many of you feel tired? How many of you said, sir, enough for today?
Sir, so can you give one more challenging question, sir? Then
Oh, that is Pawan Satwik's opinion. What about other students? What
Yes,
is the other
sir.
student? Okay, so some of you want a challenging question. Okay, so no one is bored or tired, or sir, too much.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it's already 7:30. It's time to take dinner. No one like that. Okay, fine. Okay, since all of you are asking, let us do one more question. It's find the okay in 72 factorial. In 72 factorial, find the last digit the last but third digit. The last but third digit. Third question. In 72 factorial, find the last digit, the last but third digit. The exponent of 53. The exponent of 53 when prime factorized. When prime factorized. The exponent of 19 when prime factorized. Okay, these are 4 questions. They might be looking daunting, very tough, but they're not as tough as they look. Try these 4 questions. I'm reading the question. In 72 factorial, find the last digit. Second question, find the last but third digit. Third question, find the exponent of 53 when prime factorized. Who is fam? What do you mean by this question? If you prime factorize 72 factorial, then what is the exponent of 53? How many of you know what is prime factorization? Does everyone know prime factorization?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How do you do prime factorization of 24? What is the prime factorization of 24?
Sir, 2 into 3 into 2 into 2.
वैसे नहीं लिखते. That's not how you write it.
No, sir. Sir, 2 cube into 3.
The 2 cube, yes, the 2 cube into 3.
2 cube into 3. I hope everyone knows this is called prime factorization because we are expressing it in terms of prime numbers. Okay. I hope everyone knows prime factorization. So try this question.
Sir, can you give 2 minutes? No, sir. Just
Yeah. Take all the time. I'm writing one more. Okay, good. Some of you actually got some right answers. Very good. So anyone with the first answer? No one got the first answer. Okay. Question 1, question. See, actually it's quite simple. Find the last digit of 72 factorial. Before we go to 72 factorial, what is the value of 7 factorial. 7 into 6. Forget 7 factorial. What is the value of 5 factorial? What is the value of 5 factorial? Does anyone remember?
Sir, 120.
Yeah, good. It is 120. See, if this is 120, what will 6 factorial be?
720.
720. 7 factorial?
Sir, 5040.
5040. Now see, what is the point? The point is, what is the last digit in every case? See, once it is a multiple of 10, no matter what you multiply, it will always remain a multiple of 10. Okay. Do you guys get the logic?
Yes, sir.
So starting from 5 factorial, all the numbers, whatever they are, they will always end with 0. So the first answer will be 0. That's simple. Second, now can someone try the second one? First bit. Second bit. What is the last but third digit? Okay. So before I go ahead, let us get into the signs. The signs of why we got 0 here. We got a 0 here because 5 factorial is divisible by 10. Why is 5 factorial divisible by 10? Why? Because 5 factorial can be written as 5 into 3 into 4 into 2 into 1. See, because 5 into 2 is equal to 10, that means this number will be divisible by 10. Isn't it? Now,
Yes.
when can I say that a number will be divisible by 100? It will be divisible by 100 if you have 5 square into 2 square, because 25 into 4 is 100. Right? So by the time, see, in 5 factorial, you have only
Sir,
one.
after 20.
Yeah. By the time you come to even 10 factorial, because 10 is 10 into 9 into so on till 5 into so on, 2 into 1. So here you have a 10 and here you have one more 10. So here itself you can tell the 10 factorial will be ending with 2 zeros. Okay. Did you guys understand? 10 factorial will be divisible by 100 because it has 10 into 10 inside.
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes, sir.
last 2 digits will be 0. Similarly, 15 factorial will have last 3 digits as 0.
Yes, sir.
So on and so forth. Now after this, you guys are able to understand the pattern. So definitely now the question is not asking much. It is just asking about the last but third digit. So after 20 factorial, because 20 factorial will be divisible by 10,000, every number will be having 4 zeros at the end. So 22 factorial is greater than 22 factorial. So the answer of this question will also be 0. Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any doubt?
No, sir.
See, it's not very difficult. It's just like a different type of.
So can you again explain?
Okay. Did you understand this part? That 5 factorial is divisible by 10? Huh? Here, Sarkar, did you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you understand that 10 factorial is divisible by 100? Because you have
Yes, sir.
10 into 5 into 2. Okay. Then 15 factorial, will it be divisible by 1000? Because see, if 10 factorial is divisible by 100, so 100 into 15 factorial, here you will have one more 5 and one more 2. So one more 5 and 2 will be available na, by the time you come to 15 factorial.
Yes, sir.
So 100 into 10 is 1000.
Yes, sir.
So slowly
Yes, sir. Understood.
understood. Huh? You'll get so many zeros at the end. I hope you understood.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, good. Very good. Third question. Yes, very good. Some of you, Anushrita got the right answer. The exponent of 53 when prime factorized. Actually, this is a very simple question. What is the specialty of 53?
Sir, it itself is a prime number.
It itself is a prime number, and 53 is a prime number which has no multiples other than itself below 72, isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
when you write 72 factorial, this will be 72 into 71 into so on and so forth till 53 somewhere,
53.
and again 2 into
Till
1. That means 53 will only occur once. So when you do the prime factorization, this will be 2 power something, 3 power something, 5 power something, so on. But 53 will come only once. Anna, you guys understand?
Sir, you asked this question.
Yes,
Acha,
sir.
acha, okay.
Yeah, the exponent of 53 went prime.
Okay, okay.
So
Sir,
the
I
answer-
understood the question wrong, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir, me too.
Sir, I thought that what will be like we are getting some product in 72 factorial, sir. Sir, we have to write like 53 to the power something is equal to 72 factorial.
No, it will not be possible, na? Why will 53
Yes,
power
sir.
something be 72 factorial? Not necessary. It won't happen. 53 power something will never be 72 factorial. 53 power something will be odd. 72 factorial is something which is very even and ending with zeros.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
So
that's why I was not getting. Oh, you asked it.
fourth
Sir, in
question.
that manner,
Yeah. Fourth question. Okay. Here Sarkar is telling 1. Anushrita is telling 3. Here Sarkar.
yes, sir, it's 3.
Yeah, you see, you're very close because using the same logic, 72 factorial. Okay, your logic must be, sir, you can write this as 1 into 2 into 3 into so until 19. Is this your logic? Here, sir.
Sir, but there will, sir, but there will be 38 and
Yeah, but see, here, sir, you have to
57.
observe something. 19 is a prime number, but what about the multiples of 19? Does 19 have any more multiples below 72? Multiples of
Yes,
19?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere 38 will come in between, and after some time 57 will come,
57.
and that's it. Before,
Yes, sir. It will not come again.
yeah, that's it.
Before 72.
72 into 70. So before 72 you have these 3 multiples of 19. Is that okay? Here, circle.
Yes, sir.
Here, circle.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, when you write the prime factorization, when you come to 19, it will, how many times 19 is being multiplied? Thrice. So we should write 19 to the power
3.
3. Very good. 19 to the power. Okay. So the answer of this question will be okay. So find the number of 4-digit numbers having 7 in its tens place. Okay, try this question. This is also a good question. Let's see who can do this. Maybe Ashmita can also try. Or other students. Let's see who gets this last question of the class today. Find the number of 4-digit numbers having 7 in its tens place. I hope everyone knows what you mean by tens place. Do you understand tens place? Who is that on a bike? Hai na? So tens place is this. This is the units place. This is the tens place, hundreds place, thousands place. Okay. So what is the question? The question is you have to find all 4-digit numbers such that you have a 7 here. So think about it carefully. It's a very good question.
Sir, is it 900?
Okay. Your answer is noted. Anyone else?
So 1 minute.
Okay. Questioning answers. Okay. Chalo, we'll solve. Time off.
Sir, just a minute, sir. Sir, I did a mistake.
Okay. So, who wants to explain how to do this?
So can I?
Sir, can I?
Anushrita can start.
So in the 10th place we have 7, and in the thousands place we can place 9 numbers, and in the 100th place we can place 8 numbers, and in ones place we can place 7 numbers.
No,
And
sir.
this
We can
we will
place 9
multiply.
numbers in all the 3 cases.
Yeah, see, nowhere in the question, see Anushrita, nowhere in the question they told that if you have 7 here, why 7 should not come here? 7 can come here, 7 can come.
Okay, sir, I understand.
So nowhere in
Sir,
the question
actually,
they
in
told,
the first place, it should be 9. But, sir, in the second place, in the 100th place, it can be 10.
no, wrong.
So, 0 to 9.
So in this position, how many options do you have?
So, 10.
And
10. Here, how many options do you have?
So,
10.
No,
10.
one
sir,
option.
only
only.
one.
7.
One option.
In next 100th place, how many options?
Sir, 10.
Oh, yes, sir. 10.
In this,
Sir, 9.
why 9? Why not? See, what are the 10 options? Are you people understanding what are
Sir,
the? You can put
yes, sir,
0,
0 to
1,
9.
2.
Yes.
0, it will be 3-digit number.
Yeah,
Sir,
good.
0 to 9.
Because if you cannot put 0 here, if you put 0 here, it will not be a 4-digit number anymore. No, it will become a 3-digit, or it might be
Sir,
lesser than
we-
4. So except 0, you can put anything else. Therefore, you have only 9 options.
1 to 9.
So the answer will be 9 into 10 into 1 into 10.
Yes, sir. 9,000.
900.
Sorry, 900. 9.
Okay.
So, then I did correct.
Yeah, I never said you were wrong. But you are doing something else. I wonder what you are doing the second time.
No, sir. Actually, I first thought about this one, sir, and I felt that I have gone somewhere wrong. That's why I asked you to.
Anyway. So that is permutation combination. I think I'll teach only this much for 9th class. All of you learned so much. I hope you like the topic.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you like the topic, simple counting, you can do it in your day-to-day life. And there are many important things which you learn from permutation. Later on, you learn probability, and probability is very much used in science today, in statistics, weather forecast, so on and so forth. Very much used. So the basis of many of these topics is permutation combination, fundamental counting. So thank you very much for enthusiastically and patiently following the classes. So we'll meet again next week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.